Hey everyone, and welcome to day one of CADvent. Today our focus is Autodesk Revit, and we're looking at the user interface today. So by the end of this session you should all feel very comfortable in navigating and finding your way around the interface in Revit. Whether it's 25, 24, 23, 22, it doesn't matter. So let's jump straight in and start the tutorial. Let's just shrink myself into the corner of the screen. I am now elf-sized. See what I did there, and share my screen. So here we are. I'm in Revit 2025, but really this is the same for at least all of the supported versions of Revit. And the first thing that you need to know is the different file formats that Revit natively works with. I'm not talking about what you can import and export, just the Revit file types. First and foremost, we have an RVT, a Revit project file. That's where you're going to be doing all of your modeling. So a Revit project is your building. If you're an architect, it's where your doors, windows, and walls are. If you're working in mechanical, it's where your ducts and HVAC systems are. If it's structure, it's where your structure is. It's your building, your project. We then have an RFA. That's our family files. A family is a component that we place around the building, such as a table, a piece of furniture, or a window or a door. You also have an RTE, which is a Revit template, but we don't need to worry about those today. We're going to open a sample file. It doesn't matter what sample file you've got. Just hit this home button here to the right of the Revit icon, top left of the screen. File, scroll down to open, hover over the right-hand arrow and go to sample file and pick any one of the sample files in that folder that comes pre-installed with Revit. I'm going to pick the Snowdon Towers architectural example, but you could pick the RAC Advanced, the RAC Basic sample project. It really doesn't matter. It's going to give you a little warning. That's because we are read-only inside of these files. You won't ordinarily see that on an atypical design. And here we are inside of your first Revit file. We're trying to keep these videos short and sweet, so really snappy. So I am going to go over this fairly quickly, but feel free to leave us a comment, give us a like, subscribe, let us know what you want to see. And we can dive into this in a whole load of extra detail on a later video if required. So user interface then. At the top left we have our quick access toolbar. That's home to very recently commonly used tools such as aligned dimension, default 3D view, saving, PDFing, so on and so forth. Top right hand side we have our help area where you can find license information and help on the application. Underneath that we have our main toolset, our ribbon bar. The ribbon is split into tabs, each tab having a number of different panels. Very natural left to right workflow and named appropriately. Quite simply, if you want to draw an architectural wall, go to the Architecture tab, Build Panel and hit the Wall tool. You want to draw a mechanical duct, go to the Systems tab, HVAC panel and use the Duct tool. Right smack bang in the center of our screen we have our real estate. That's where our views are displayed. Whether it's a 2D view or a 3D view, that's where they're going to be. And we've got a second video coming up, not tomorrow but the day after, which is showing you how to navigate around that view. On the left hand side we have two very key areas of the interface that we will use several times throughout this set of tutorials and step-by-steps. Firstly is the Properties palette. The Properties palette will display the metadata, attributes, properties, whatever you want to call them, for the component or components that you have selected. If you don't have anything selected, it's going to show you the relevant information for the view that you're on. Piece of text, view. Underneath the Properties palette, we have our project browser. This is what allows us to navigate through a Revit file, which is much like a real building, split up into lots of different levels, each one of those levels having a number of different views relating to it. For example, the ground floor, you might have a general arrangement drawing, so your GA. You might have a furniture layout for FF and E. You might need a typical fire layout or an area plan or umpteen other different views for each individual level in the building. what our project browser allows us to do is see all of those different views. So whilst we have a 3D model inside of Revit, the project browser splits it up into different levels, and we have different views that we can work on, edit, and see independently. Throughout this course, we're going to use all of those tools in a number of different bits of detail. So sometimes we'll go more in depth, sometimes we'll just skim over something. But generally speaking, all of those different tools we're going to work through in a different level of detail throughout the course. And really, for this first session, that's all I wanted to cover. Showing you about the interface, getting you understanding what it's called. Have a click around, have a play, see what happens. Look at the context sensitivity of each tool. The fact that some of these tools are grayed out because I'm currently on a 2D view, for example. Get comfortable with it, then come back. Tomorrow we're going to look at Inventor, if you're product design and manufacturing. The day after, we're going to do more Revit. And inside of that Revit, what we're going to do is we're going to look at how to navigate around a file that we have open. So thank you very much. See you for what will be day 3 of CADvent for Revit in a couple of days' time. But don't forget to join us tomorrow, where we're going to do the same thing for Autodesk Inventor. Thank you ever so much. And until then, take care. Bye-bye.